Hey, yo, peace. This is the official Black Review, and today we'll be reviewing Passive Aggressive Racism in the System of White Supremacy by Philip Scott. Now, Philip Scott, he is the founder of The Advice Show. You can find him on YouTube at The Advice Show TV. He's almost at 1 million subscribers. You know, I've been a long time listener to Phil. He pretty much does commentary on politics affecting the black community in the U.S. And he posts about, 3 or 4 times a week just to keep us updated with, current information and what's going on. And, I definitely, would suggest that y'all subscribe to his channel so that y'all can stay updated with news for us by us. All right. So Phil, his book came out, pretty recently, probably about a couple months ago, and I wanted to go ahead and purchase it, patronize the brother, support him, do everything I can because I love the information that he gives on his channel. And so I kind of wanted to give y'all a brief overview on what to expect, if you buy this book right here, which I got the paper copy. They're available on Amazon. I got mine in a matter of a couple of days, and so no issues with the delivery time at all. I got Prime, whatever. Before I get into the good stuff, I will just point out one thing that I did not like about the book, and I will just say the book doesn't have any page numbers. I don't know why. I don't know if it was a mistake. I honestly can't answer that. But that is the one major thing that I do not like about this book right here. No page numbers, you know what I'm saying? Other than that, it does give some great information. That's just, me. I'm not gonna say nitpicking because, it's a book. It should have page numbers so that you can go back to certain spots to, highlight or do whatever you can. But that's the one bad thing that I can say about this book. Now, let's get into the good. Passive aggressive racism and the system of white supremacy. It's basically a brief overview about what white supremacy is, what white privilege is, and the tactics that are used every day by the common white supremacists, to continue to keep you in a confused state. This book is kind of a piggyback off of Neely Fuller Jr.'s work, the United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept. It's basically a broader version of that where it doesn't go so in depth, but it's just thin enough. It's just enough for the average person that isn't knowledgeable about the system of white supremacy that they'll pick this book up and really leave with some valuable information. So when you get inside this book right here, he tells you the purpose. The purpose is just to make you aware of the state of racial affairs, in the U.S. And when he starts out the book, he talks about how the book was founded on overt racism, just directly in your face, slavery and everything. And then as times progressed, we went from overt racism to covert racism. And so instead of lynching a black man, now you got these race soldiers that are plant drugs on black people, take them to prison, kill black men and women, and just say, hey, I just fear for my life. And that's a valid excuse, to take another black person, off this earth. And so that's when we get into the overt racism where, it's not so direct in your face. And some people still fall, victim to that. I'm just afraid for my life, and which is something that's often repeated by our race soldiers that kill, black men and women. And now, Phil, he goes into what I think are some great questions that you will hear on, white people say, white supremacists say. You'll see them on forums, you'll see them online. And I just kind of typed out a couple of questions that Phil kind of goes over, and then he gives y'all the rebuttal so that you can help, perfect your conversation whenever you encounter these people, because they will all have the same talking points. And you got to know how to overcome that, how to combat that. And Phil does a great job laying it out. So a few things here he talks about is people say, hey, can you prove racism exists? How can America be racist if we elected Barack Obama? If America is so racist, why do we pay black athletes millions of dollars to entertain us? If whites had groups like NAACP and Black Lives Matter, we be considered racist. So Phil, he just pretty much lays out these common questions that you'll get, and he provides, very in-depth answers to them, where he, pretty much backs it up with stats and data. And I really love that because, a lot of times whenever we're conversing with these people, we don't know how to combat, these arguments with a logical response. You never want to get into a very emotional conversation with these people. That's what they do. They try to say certain things to trigger an emotional response, but we got to stay, cool, calm, and never ever, which is what Phil advises, never ever let them control the conversation. As a black person, we shouldn't have to prove anything exists. I mean, it's evident, So if they ask you to prove racism exists, you tell them, hey, why don't you prove racism doesn't exist in the U.S.? You put it back on them. You have to be the one controlling the conversation, controlling the narrative, and that's just one of a few things that Phil teaches us, in this book when it comes to understanding the system of white supremacy. This book doesn't go in just very in depth, and I think it's because Phil just kind of wants to get to that reader that hasn't really, read a lot of material on racism, white supremacy. There are a few words like race soldiers that you can look up online and really get a great definition of what a race soldier is versus what a police officer is, which there is a major difference, you know what I'm saying? Every police officer isn't a race soldier, but, there are certainly race soldiers that dress up in uniform for sure. And so that's what some of the things that you'll get in these books right here. Towards the end, he does give us solutions to combat racism, white supremacy. He talks about business ownership, home ownership, doing everything that you can to become, self-sufficient and self-reliant. Those are some great, great tips that he kind of gives at the end. I do wish he kind of would have went more in depth because I have read, the work of, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and Dr. Neely Fuller Jr., which, and Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which he definitely, advises the readers to kind of, get those books so that you can gain an even deeper understanding of those of this subject matter. So that's a great thing to do. And overall, I think Phil did a good job. If you know a lot about the system of white supremacy and you listen to, Neely Fuller Jr.'s weekly show, I'll probably say that you're probably advanced. If you're just a person that kind of, you're kind of, I'm not gonna say lost. You know what's going on, but you don't know how to really articulate exactly, how you feel, or you're uncomfortable having conversations, with white people when they talk about racism, white supremacy, or maybe you've actually fell into the trap of the propaganda that you see on Fox News, or just this overall this racist propaganda that you hear all the time, and that you've been, what they say, in the sunken place. If you're in that sunken place, or you just kind of don't know, or you don't know how to combat the system, then I say, hey, get this book right here because, that's what it's for. It's to help us gain an understanding of how this system works. And so, like I said, I think Phil did a good job for what he was trying to accomplish. Some of these talking points and subject matter inside this book is stuff that's been said before, but when you put it all together, it's well written. It's not a long read. You could read this book in one setting. Get your highlighter out. You may want to go back over it again. You don't want to just read it one time, but you want to read it again, just kind of to refresh yourself on the content. And like I say, I think Phil did a good job. I definitely enjoyed the book. It's a quick book, and most importantly, I think every black person should have a shelf full of books dealing on the subject matter of counter racism. That's a very important topic that we have to really try to understand and get a true grasp on. And like I said, Phil did a great job. Just a few more things I want to touch on. He talks about black people getting passports so that we can see the world for what it is, visiting African nations, taking our black dollars and supporting and spending our money, with our brothers and sisters, of the diaspora, in the motherland. So that's some stuff that we got to do, And like I said, if you really want to get more information on this book, then like I said, you can cop it on Amazon, Passive Aggressive Racism in the System of White Supremacy by Philip Scott. Like I said, tune in to his YouTube channel, The Advice Show TV, and that's all I got for you, all right? I will holler at y'all. Peace.